and people gonna join. Happy Friday, producers. We here with the one and only Robin Auwerda, the Dutch. Robin,
Yes, good morning.
happy Friday. Good to see you.
Yeah, same here.
I think they're gonna show up with an orange shirt, like Hulit.
Well, I saw the photo that you used and I figured I still have that shirt somewhere. So here I am.
I love that. Well, good to have you in our weekly producers club, right? We always like to rotate different industry, icons that like to share their mindset and success. Give us a kind of background about Robin. I mean, you have an awesome story.
Well, born and raised in the Netherlands. I was backpacking and train traveling through Europe one year. I think it was 1990 or 91. And it was my last day. I was at the train station in Munich, Germany, waiting for my train to go back home at the end of the day. This was early morning. And next to me sits this girl who we get to talk, is waiting for her train to go back to the airport and fly back to LAX. So we got to talk and we still had time to kill. And have you seen Munich? Yes. Have you seen Munich? Yes. Well, let's see Munich again. So we spent like half a day together and that was a lot of fun. We had ice cream and beer together, which is a great combination, and stayed in contact. And I think after a couple of months of writing letters back and forth, she's like, well, why don't you come have vacation in Long Beach? It's like, that's great. And I was in the army at that time, got really sick, ended up in the hospital. So we had to postpone that for a year, but finally made it to the States. And we unfortunately fell in love, and not really unfortunately, but intercontinental relationships should not be your first choice because it cost back then a lot of money. There was no FaceTime and everything, so the phone bills were pretty high. And at one point, she wanted to become a physical therapist, and we found an international United States accredited college in Holland. So she moved to Holland, was in Holland for about three and a half years, got her PT license done, and we got married in 1998. And according to my view of this whole story, then she said, well, I've been here for a while, now it's your turn. So we moved to Long Beach, and apparently it's still my turn. But it's a good turn. So that's kind of the background. That's how I ended up here.
Yeah, I always love to hear immigrant story. And by the way, maybe I'm gonna have her on the session next week to hear her version of the story, Robin.
There you go.
So yeah. Okay, so in Long Beach, the Dutch is in the big LA. What happened next? How did you go into real estate?
Well, my first couple of jobs were in retail because I knew that from back home. And after a while, I got so fed up with it. We bought our first house in Signal Hill. I still remember it was $100,000. It was 450-ish square feet on I think 1,100 square foot lot. So it was this little thing. It was somewhat falling apart, but hey, it was ours. And after 1 or 2 years, we had the opportunity to buy a 2 on a lot. And so we moved out, we kept the little house, we rented it out, and started investing in real estate a little bit. And friends, family members were like, how do you do that? Can you help us out? Can you tell us what to do? And we did that. But after a while, I was tired of retail. It's like, you know what? I'm going to get my real estate license and see what happens. So quit my job, saved up some money, and jumped in full time into real estate, and ended up with KW.
And that was what year?
That was in 2005, I think.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so you kind of joined the industry, got into the industry when things started to kind of.
Yes, unfortunately I didn't know enough, but everybody around me would just raise their hand and would have a listing or a buyer that went into escrow within 2 minutes. Yes.
Yeah.
And then by the time that I had figured out this easy thing called real estate, everything went that way. Yes.
So you were about 3-4 years into it, and then we know what happened, right? The market crashed. There was a big shift.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and go ahead.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Well, the funny thing I still remember is that real estate is not difficult just as a topic, and when you first sign on, they're like, the sky's the limit. There's no limitations to how much you can earn. But what I found out is that they forgot to tell me that there's also no floor. And that was a big shift in my mindset, where you're really working for yourself. And if you don't close something, you really don't get paid. And the first year that was or the first half year, that was kind of like, oh, that's eye-opening.
Yeah, and that's a good lesson learned for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
So how did you evolve, right? Like, the first year was, somewhat challenging, and then how did you build that consistency as a, new to the industry? You left your other job, jump right in, and still new in town, right? And immigrant relatively. So how was that evolving?
I did open house after open house after open house after open house. I was walking flyers always like a couple of hours before my open house, just inviting the neighborhood. I'm not very good at door knocking, so I'm more of the door knocker that knocks on the door and then runs away. So I was just dropping flyers. But it worked because my first listing, my first transaction came from flyer dropping. But yeah, I did open houses because I didn't really have a database. I didn't grow up here. I don't have family here. I don't have high school friends. I don't have this whole history of, because by then I was, I think, early 30s. I don't have 30 years of history in this country. So by holding those open houses, I really was able to build my database.
I love that, because and we somewhat have a similar story, right? In that sense.
Mm-hmm.
So where did you bring that hunger from? Like the hustle? I mean, was that, oh my God, my other half, she's looking, I gotta make it happen? Or was that just like Robin wanna conquer the world?
It was a little bit of Robin wants to conquer the world, because you make this humongous decision of leaving one side of the world and moving to another side of the world, right, all because of this lovely girl that is now your wife, and you want to perform and do well. That was really the drive for me, because it was possible. That's a big thing in the United States that I believe is true, is that if you want to change your career in this country, you can. Like, I could do something else tomorrow that is not real estate related, right, and that is a possibility here, where in Europe it's a lot more rules and set in stone the way it's been for goodness know how long. So yeah, the drive came from, hey, I moved, so I better make something of it.
So 3-4 years into it, market is shifting, you're looking around and say, like, what the heck is going on? Then what?
Yes. So I was, well, fortunate enough, but I had some transactions. Some of my clients who I really stay in contact with my clients. I'm really more of the stay in contact with your friends, family members, and everything that's right in front of you, rather than trying to get new people from far away. So I always really stay in contact with my clients, and some of them started losing their homes. So that was part of my business. And at the time, but actually it's more now, Keller Williams really helped me to always feel like I was part of a team. So I could always hold open houses for people. I could always help with something like showing properties for listing agents that were busy. So that's kind of what I started doing. But yeah, the open houses were the main thing for me.
Yeah, and whoever's listening right now, gonna watch the recordings later. Again, like just pick up those nuggets of wisdom and experience that it's understand like how it's gonna help you in your business, right? If you're looking at today's business, today's market, right? It's kind of shifting market.
Mm-hmm.
Rates are weird. Buyers acting sometimes weird. Sellers have different expectations and what have you. And you look backwards since you started. Do you see any resemblance? Is it like a totally different market, different behavior?
I think ultimately people are the same. I remember, I don't know, that's over a decade ago now, that we were talking about interest rates are still low, and we were talking about 6%. And now we have 6% since yesterday, and we're like, oh dear, it's 6%. How is this even possible? So that stays the same. Buyers are still on the fence. They were on the fence back then. Sellers still want what they want, which is the most money. And what you see now is a little bit of sellers being so comfortable for the last 2 years that they're not used to, oh, I actually have to pay attention a little bit to these people that are called buyers. So it's still very much the same. It's just we're not used to it. We get very comfortable, I think, very easily. So yeah, that's on us, really.
Yeah, I love that. You fairly active in social media, right? Having fun with it, try different things, right?
Yes.
Give us some of that kind of, your the Robin mindset about like how you look at, social media, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and how do you utilize that to your business, but at the same time having fun with it?
I think that social media can really help people to get to know you as a person, even though it's still, sometimes people are like, well, I think I really, really know you. And no, you probably don't, because I only have 4.5 friends. But you can show that you know about real estate. And I can say something very profound, and there's like 3 likes. But then I grab one of the puppies and I say the same thing, and I yank him into the picture, and all of a sudden I have 50 likes. Okay, so yeah, people are liking it because of the dog, but they still got the message. I really don't care too much of if my hair is just so, or if I'm sounding like this guy from Holland that tries to speak English sometimes. So I don't really script things. It comes up, oh shoot, I still have a photo that's about that. I put some text on it and I put it out there. So I don't think about it too much. I don't take myself too serious. I think everybody feels that too.
And you know what I love about that, because it's super authentic. And if someone runs into you, even like, coworkers, right, the office, of course, someone that saw you, friends, this is exactly the person that I saw on social media, or I got your message or whatever. Like, you're not trying to pretend to be something that you're not.
Right. Yeah. I try to not be somebody different. And it's kind of funny when you run into people and they start talking to you because they know you and you're like, oh, you look familiar, but where did I see you? It must have been on Facebook somewhere. But that's kind of fun. Yeah. And it does work. I think asking questions every so often really gets good results. You may not see it on the platform itself, but there's a lot of messages going back and forth. And I think that is a great tool, like the polls on Instagram or on LinkedIn. I'm really starting to figure out how to use LinkedIn. And what I noticed recently with LinkedIn is that the funnier stuff that I put on, or something that is not serious, because LinkedIn is like, okay, you have to be professional and whatnot, actually starts to get likes. So hey, as you know, the more you're out there, the more people see you, something will happen, and it has from that.
Yeah, and it kind of leads me to the next question, because it's always easier to stick with one thing that you know really well and you keep doing it over and over again. But the reality is that market is changing, conditions are changing, needs are changing. We change as well, right?
Yeah.
So where do you get that curiosity, ability, what have you, to adapt new things in your life or business?
I think it's just, yeah, I don't know really if there's a good answer, because it's just built in. I want to try things. I heard somebody say this, and it really stuck. I love to say that we're going to build a boat and we're getting all pumped and we're starting. Then the in-between part, I don't really care about, but I surely am back to toss that champagne bottle when it's ready. So I love to start things. I may not always be good to like pull it through completely, but that's when you work together with people. And I think I just want to try things out. I love that new things pop up on social media that you can play with, going live or whatnot, because it's telling you what to do, because the new things is what those platforms want to see. So when you do them, you get more eyeballs. So, yeah.
I love that. What would 20 years ago Robin will tell today's Robin? What kind of a piece of advice?
Be more consistent. And time block.
Consistent and time block with what? Just like activities, business, personal stuff.
Mainly business, but time blocking. I could not figure out what time blocking really was for the longest time. They tell you, okay, set this time aside and then do this and then do this and then do this. And then I didn't get to that because, squirrel. And I did not replace the activities on another time slot or another day. So that was, yeah, I finally am getting the hang of that in the last year and a half. So that has really helped me, because you can actually do a whole day in a couple of hours. If you're really focused, you can get all your activities done that you need to do, reaching out to your clients, following up, do lead generation, having lunch with your affiliates or business owners. I'm starting to do that again. I used to have a business mixer, which is a great way to be out there and get business. And consistency, once it is on your schedule, you can now finally be consistent with it. And it's so easy to put it on a Google Calendar and have it repeat. So you don't even have to write it down anymore 60 times to be consistent. So yeah, that has really helped me.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. So you're pretty involved in the office, right? Or the way I say in the community, right? Our community of realtors, in various ways, right? As a mentor, as a producing agent, various masterminds or what have you. Why do you think it's important? Because if you take that again, time, like, and consistency, commitment, a lot of agents, they're afraid to commit to those kind of things because of whatever reason. What makes you be so involved in our community day to day?
I think it really goes back to two things. I really want to be part of something. That's what like flips the switch for me to be on. So I love that, being part of a group, or but also when I first started, you're going to the classes, you're learning how to fill out the RPA, you're doing open houses, you're doing whatever your mentor is telling you. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, a stranger says, yeah, I want you to list my house. And you're like, oh, shoot, now what? Even though you went through all these classes. And I still remember this was at like 5:30 or 6 at night. And I went to the office and was like, I hope somebody's there. And it was two people. And I knock on their door. They're big hitters. So you're kind of like, oh, should I even do this? I don't know them. But I knocked on their door and they were so helpful. And they really got me at least through my first step, because that's what I needed. And that's what I found. And I want to help people, because that's one of the reasons I really want to be involved. That's why I'm a mentor, because I know that really helped me, because real estate is a business that you learn as you go. And sometimes, especially when you first start, that is scary, because I still remember my first buyer. Oh, they're going to buy a $500,000 home. I'm now responsible for their $500,000. What if something goes wrong? What if? Even though you have a little bit of background, it's so valuable when there's a community. And in our office, I think there's a great community. I mean, there's tons of mentors. I mean, Drake, Leslie, Janet, Penny. You see them being very involved. I think Michelle is even a mentor, and I used to mentor her. So it's really cool that actually is evolving and growing that way. So
yeah, I love
that. That's the reason. I think it needs to be there, and I think it's the way it's set up now is better than when I first started.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I appreciate about that. Your answer, that attitude, is that it's important to understand that every person is a piece of that community, right? So everybody can contribute something and be part of something that makes a big difference, right? So how are you, or what are you focusing today, right, when going through this shifting market? Because you've been through one before, right? So is that just mind change, different attitude? Do you do different activities day to day to what's gonna come next as an opportunity?
Well, I got the opportunity to cut costs, which I did, because less money is coming in, and cutting costs is very important. And over the years, you know, subscription here and an app that is doing something with your photos there and whatnot. So cutting costs was a great opportunity to basically go through your credit card statement. I'm really focused on doing open houses. So for today, I've been preparing for one that is from 4 till 7. Fridays are great because people are on their way home and they have time to actually stop at your open house. I also am starting to be a lot more focused on the face-to-face with my clients, face-to-face with business owners, because it's possible again, and it's really necessary right now. And that is where the quickest money is. It's not social media. It's not, for me, internet leads. It's being face-to-face with people. So Saturday, I'm doing whatever you call it, pop-bys or checking in or whatever. I'm going to the Dutch store. I'm going to buy Dutch cookies, and I'm going to deliver it to hopefully at least 20 people just to say hi. And that really results in your top of mind, at least for a week. And you have great conversations, checking in, asking for the business in a nice way, and you're bringing something.
A few things. Now, first of all, so I won't forget, text me the address of the Dutch store.
Okay.
For sure. So it sounds like you're just going back to basics, right? When you first started.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Basics always work. That's the fun part.
Love
so every time you're sitting at your desk and you're like, what am I supposed to do now? Be in contact with the people that you know already.
Yeah.
It's that easy.
Yeah.
You can always go back to the basics. And right now, open houses are a great way because they're allowed again. There's more of them. Listing agents may be freaking out because their home is on the market for 56 days. But I remember when I started, I was holding that same house open for weeks at a time, which is a great opportunity for new agents, especially to meet new people.
Yeah.
And
buyers, you're always gonna have people that want to buy.
Yes, that's the funny thing in real estate. It's all about listings, but that listing doesn't sell without a buyer.
Right.
So I think you should always be a buyer's and seller's agent, not, oh, I'm a seller's agent.
Right.
Doesn't compute with me.
Love that. Yeah. And you get a couple of shout outs on the chat from Mary, and also Michelle said that would never have been a mentor without having you as one. Learn from the best.
Oh, how sweet.
Love you, Robin. Yeah. Thank you. So Robin, if you had to give advice, right, to us over here realtors, and you gave a lot of good nuggets so far, but if you want to add anything else, what would it be, like, for today's time? Like, what is it that people need to do, to think of, to focus on?
I thought I would never say this because I don't really read books, but we have this little group and we're actually going through the Shift book. And I always saw the Shift book as, oh, at least this is easier to read than the Red book, which is true, but it's completely different. And I just now started to realize that it has so many good things in there that if you don't have the Shift book, I would try to find one and start reading it. And ask me what my highlights are, and we can talk about that. But the Shift book actually is pretty good. So I'm adding that to my tool belt, I guess.
Love that. By the way, do you think that if you would study, practice the Shift book or something similar, a few years back, would that make any difference in your business?
Yes. Yeah, because it has a lot of the basics in there, and it has a lot of Gary Keller, when he researches something or says something, that his research was, I don't know, extensive. So I'm reading things in there that, oh, wow, I didn't even think about it in that respect. So that's really helping me.
Yeah, awesome advice. Thank you. Where's the open house today on the chat?
Oh, it's in Lakewood on Pierce. I'll put it out there shortly.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
No beer and ice cream served. Not for this.
No. Maybe some water.
That's a good start.
It's not weekend. Oh, and I see that Drake is making fun of me again, so that's always good. He's awake. Perfect. Love it.
Everybody are here, Robin.
Yeah.
Robin Auwerda. Can't thank you enough. The Dutch on the show. And by
the
the way,
invite.
yeah, of course. And by the way, if any of you guys who's watching ever in the Long Beach area, stop by at our coastal office in Long Beach, meet the guys. I mean, it's lots of fun. And if you're ever gonna see Robin or usually Robin and Drake doing a team meeting or in a pool party.
Oh yeah, we should do that again.
Yes. Yeah.
That would be fun.
Something fun is about to happen. Robin, you're the best. I appreciate you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks
See you guys later.